Jeshua was always living in the now. Well, hello my friends, and welcome back to the back deck. It is a beautiful day out here. High 50s, so it's a little chilly, but it's nice enough for me to come out here and smell this fresh air and hear those birds chirping and really experiencing being here in this present moment in a beautiful way. You know, my memories of Jeshua are very profound for me. And someone asked me the other day on the live stream, which we do every Friday night at 8, an example of Jeshua being very present. And the concept of Jeshua being present is a fascinating one in regards that he was always very present. His whole experience was being in the moment, in the here and the now. And so much so that there are so many times in the Bible you can find where he didn't follow the Jewish traditions or the ceremonies or even the societal norms were cast aside for being in the now and connecting with the person across from them. You know, I remember him walking the streets and coming up to children and just playing with the little children and just, helping people carry things. And he himself was just like in the moment, right there, and without putting on an air of being better than or even less than, but even to, and like partnering in life with the people around him. And the Bible says, whatever you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto me. By staying in the moment and loving others, then the experience of your life gets surrounded by people who love you in return. And so Jeshua was always in the now moment. He was in the expression of being in the present and expressing love and helping others and allowing others to help him and living in the moment of no judgment, no fear, no anxiety, just literally loving. And one of the story of the Samaritan woman at the well, he was traveling on the Sabbath. If he was a Jewish man, that would have never happened because you don't travel on the Sabbath. He was a Jewish man speaking to a woman, and an unknown woman would have been possibly somebody else's wife, and that would have been frowned upon in that time period. He was a Jewish man speaking to a Samaritan. They were at odds with each other at the time. They would not have been a normal conversation, right? He then told her everything she ever did, which is basically doing a psychic reading, and she ran and said, "Come see the man who told me everything I ever did." So basically, even in the Bible, it says psychics and seers are not to be believed, right? He was doing that, though. So he was in the moment, and he was sharing exactly what he was feeling in the moment and speaking about the moment. And because he was without fear, he was closer to the connection to God. He was closer to that space of channeling information through. I often talk about when I do private sessions, the first thing I do is an hour before, I write the name on the sheet of paper and I exhale. And when I exhale, I'm basically setting down all my fears and my anxieties. I'm basically being very present without fear. And being in that space, information comes. And, there's nobody on this earth who can't do what I just said. And Jeshua was teaching exactly that. Be here now. In the Bible it says, think not upon tomorrow. Be here now. Be in this moment. And in this moment, whatever you do for the least of my brothers, that you do unto me. Love one another is what he says. Be in this present moment loving one another. And when you do that, your world gets surrounded by that love, that compassion, that joy that we all seek, that we all are looking for. Manifestations happen because we get very present. And when we get very present with the intention and the belief that we're going to manifest something, then by being very present without fear, we can then begin to see the pathway and start to take the actions that are in alignment with its outcome. It's a matter of you setting down all of the things that obscure the view of God, of source, of consciousness. It's setting down your fears, your anxieties, your struggles, your strife, and putting all that down and realizing they're all just belief. They're all just thoughts. And by putting them down, letting them go, and staying very present, you can be like Jeshua and love one another and experience love in return. Now people are going to say, but it was his crucifixion and his beating loving. Sure it was. Because all the people that we experience in life are making their own choices. And by going to his death in that way, he was loving us because he didn't want us to suffer like we were going to, even though we did. Right? He did suffer. We didn't suffer nearly as much as we could have if Rome had wiped everybody out. Instead, they wiped out the leaders, and then the rest scattered. So it was a much more loving thing to do to go to his death in that regard. He also went to his death showing us that he can go to his death even without fear. And so in this regard, it's a matter of us taking the realization of the present moment and loving one another in the present moment. And when you're loving someone in the present moment, you're loving that person across from you in the present moment. Remember to love yourself in that present moment. Remember what you're putting out in the world is coming back to you. What you sow, you do reap. Your karma is dependent upon your thoughts, words, and deeds being in a positive direction for you to have a positive outcome in a loving direction. And all of those thoughts, all of those concepts can only happen in your present moment. So you guys have a great day and a great moment. And I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. The John of New channel is solely funded by your generous donations and purchases of private readings and merchandise. To help out, go to johnofnew.com or use the donation link in the description below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.